Fire up your arc reactors, set your repulsors to max, because today, I am Iron Man. Alright, so in case you couldn't tell, today we're here to go over my Iron Man Prototype Gauntlet project, which is based off a very particular scene in Iron Man 1. I actually completed this about a year ago at Halloween time. I technically got it done I meant to get it done at Halloween, but I got it done just after, which is unfortunate, but it was due to a bunch of random stuff going on there, but that's okay, because I'm here to talk about it now since my next Halloween project is coming up, and I feel like maybe I should cover this one first. Anyways, it's based on this scene from Iron Man. I'll try and put a short snippet in there, and hopefully I won't get copyrighted.
Villagers have been forced to take shelter in whatever crude dwellings they can find, in the ruins of other villages, or here in the remnants of an old Soviet smelting plant. Recent violence has been attributed to a group of foreigners.
So there were some pieces that I had to purchase or acquire or whatever in order to acquire the look that was really shown in that scene that I just showed off there, so that I could get the full costume down. Obviously I got this wife beater thing, so you got to have that because that's an important part. And then I got this tubing here, which, you know, goes out from the arms and from the arc reactor, and I've also got a little bit on my arm here too. Otherwise I had to buy a tap light that I basically disassembled to get the lighting for the arm and stuff like that. And I also had to buy the little LEDs that go inside the arc reactor here. So that about covers it for all the pieces I bought. Obviously, like, I needed a glove for the hand because it's not just the hand piece. And the XT60 connectors and the wires I already had because of my Nerf projects. But for the projects themselves, I used a 5mm foam. And I felt that was really nice. It actually worked. I really like 5mm foam arms now. I feel like it's something that I've learned, and having used it on my Mandalorian project that I'm working on, spoiler, it is actually much better, I think. And obviously it's really good for hands because the fact that you need something thinner and more ductile to be able to put in like circles and stuff like that, like it is on the hand here. And then for painting, what I did was I put everything in like a couple of coats of Plastidip pretty much first. And then I painted either with this metallic aluminum color that I think was Rust-Oleum metallic aluminum, basically for this stuff. Or I used like some, I think it was Rust-Oleum, just like red or dark red. I think it was a dark red, to get the red color here. And it was pretty simple. I just put it on top of the Plastidip and it turned out really nice, and it's still really flexible and stuff. And I missed some bits, but you know, this stuff happens. But now onto the specific bits themselves. First off, we'll start with the hand here because I got it on my left, and always go left because that's my thing because I'm left-handed. And basically the deal is that, I mean, it's covered in like, I don't know how many pieces. I didn't count before I did this, but I think it's something like 20 pieces of different pieces of foam. I mean, you can see on the inside here, it's got, you know, 6 pieces around the center gem repulsor thingy, and then obviously 3 segmented pieces per finger, and then some pieces on the top to cover it all up. And just looks, I don't know, I'm just really pleased with how this turned out. And then when it's on my hand, it looks really nice, and it still kind of bends and you still can do it. This has suffered a little bit of battle damage, I guess, over time, and some of the pieces are flying off on the fingers because I use hot glue to glue it. But I mean, hot glue isn't the best, and that's pretty much what I learned from this project. Unfortunately, I don't really know how else I would glue it to a glove type thing. I suppose I'd use Velcro or something like that in the future. I don't know. It's something I'm putting some thought to. So if you have an idea, please put in the comments below, because I would love to hear your solutions for this kind of thing, because this was debatable. Because originally the whole idea for this was taken from an Indie Mogul build where they did something similar with the hands, but I didn't take any of their patterns or anything like that. Like, I made all the patterns myself, but I took the idea overall of what they were doing and kind of just incorporated that, which I think worked out pretty nicely. But I think they were using plasticard or something like that for theirs, so it's going to be a little bit different in how the material adheres to stuff. And anyways, inside the hand is supposed to be this little light piece right here with the XT60 connector, supposed to be up in there, and it shines through this little gem piece here. And so that gives it like the idea of the repulsor light. Unfortunately, mine was hot glued in there, and randomly when I was dinking around with it before, I think when I was originally planning on filming this the first time, it like just came out. Anyways, onto the arm. Pretty much it's 2 pieces. It's the central piece, which is the aluminum, which is like showing like the undercarriage or whatever, and then you got the classic Iron Man color on the top for the Iron Man red. It also has some of this tubing on here to give it a little bit more of a rough and tumble feel, and obviously has the battery tray on the outside, not hidden away at all because also rough and tumble, and it's got like the cables hanging out with rough, like it's just very rough and tumble, and it's okay. I originally originally had some extra wiring and stuff like that, like all hot glued all over this thing, and it looked really cool. And I don't know if I have any pictures, because if I do, they'll be up right now. But unfortunately, all that stuff broke off, and I kept trying to re-glue it back on with the hot glue, and it just didn't want to go on, so I just kind of... and then obviously we have the arc reactor here, which is just a circular piece. I'm pretty proud of how this thing turned out with all the pieces and stuff like that. And then it's got a round piece for the main assembly body to give it a little bit of depth, and then it's got the obviously the actual circle piece for the center, and it's all cut out. I tried to be as precise as possible, which is semi-difficult with foam. And then obviously I just put a little bit of in addition to LEDs, I put a little bit of aluminum foil on the back here, just to give it a little bit of reflectivity when it's shining through the shirt. And you know, you just turn it on 3 clicks, and then you got the shine. And I originally, with the first version of this, I built as my test version, which ironically looked a lot like the first arc reactor from the movie, which was kind of funny. It had the whole divot on the back and everything like that. It had frosted, I put like some wax paper over it to frost the glass a little bit, to give it a little bit of frost, but then I realized it actually it frosted it too much, because when you put it underneath the shirt, it kind of spreads out the light anyways. So that was an unnecessary step. So that was good to know. All right, so that's the overview of the individual pieces. Now let's go ahead and see what it looks like when you're putting the gauntlet on, and how that goes through, and just what all that entails. So first off, what I have to do is I have to slide on the actual back gauntlet piece onto my arm, which, as you can tell, is quite a tight fit. Then what I have to do is I have to wriggle my hand into the glove so that I can get it on correctly and make sure it's all down and cinched up against my fingers. And then I make sure to pull down the glove so that it covers my wrist and kind of fits in underneath the inside of the gauntlet here. And then I take the XT60 connectors from both the battery tray and the arm part and go ahead and connect those together, and then I can click in on the center and it should light up. Unfortunately, I had an issue where somewhere in my wiring this no longer works when I was filming this, so it is what it is. All right, and for the arc reactor itself, first obviously you put on the tank top. Then you go ahead and take the arc reactor, slide it up through the bottom, up until you get to about the center of the chest region where it happens to be on Tony Stark. You go ahead, turn on the light there. Then you go ahead and take the loop here and you slide it through the shirt, over the top of the arc reactor. Make sure to cinch it down so that it's held in place by the arc reactor. Then you just take it and drape it down the arm like so, and it'll connect to the gauntlet, which I happen to not be wearing at this point because I accidentally already put it away. All right, this has been the overview of my Iron Man Prototype Gauntlet project. I hope this was entertaining, and I hope that this inspired you to make something of your own. It's either to make your own Iron Man Gauntlet or to make something else entirely that maybe you've been meaning to make but you haven't yet. Please do let me know in the comments below if there is something. Thank you ever so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.